Okay, this video is called Are American Doctors Well Educated? And everybody knows they have to be a pretty good student, they have to work hard. I can tell you, all doctors are pretty hardworking. They're not all smart, a lot of stupid doctors. And the other thing about it is, most doctors really don't know that much about health. I know that sounds like a bizarre thing to say, but let me explain. Okay, when they go to college, they have to take tons of required classes that are completely irrelevant. For example, calculus, statistics, and you're always told math is useful. I'm a triple boarded high tech doctor and I'm also trained in a lot of other stuff, medical. I've never had to use any mathematics more than what I knew in fourth grade. The other thing is, they go, well, you got to learn all this chemistry. So in college, they learn inorganic chemistry, organic chemistry, physical chemistry, and nowadays they even require them to take some biochemistry. But the bizarre thing about it is, all of these books have removed the information about nutrition and toxicology. I'm not joking. I've gone through these books. I have a very boring life, and I go through textbooks as sort of a hobby. Okay? My kids are grown up. My wife works. I don't talk to her too much. So I have time to do this. Okay? Evolutionary biology. You study evolutionary biology, but that has very little to do with clinical medicine. You take some, requirement how to write, but it's like how to write like a chump. They don't really learn how to write. I can tell you, I've read many, many thousands of medical charts. Doctors do not know how to write in general. Then they take physics, a full year of physics. Physics is pretty much irrelevant to medicine. There's some subspecialties where you would need to know, let's say you're going to be a pacemaker cardiologist. You need to know electrophysiology. You'll have to learn electricity then, okay? But for all the other doctors, they don't need to know it. Okay, then you go to medical school, and it's very much the same. Basically, medical school prepares a doctor to know things that would especially be helpful to internal medicine. But they don't learn any nutrition, they don't learn any toxicology. And that's a big deal because at least 70% of disease, probably more like 75%, some people think 80% of disease, is all related to issues in nutrition and toxicology. But these subjects are entirely, like 99% removed from all the textbooks that medical students see and even residents see. There's almost zero information on atherosclerosis. Now, if you ask a doctor about atherosclerosis, they'll tell you, oh, they learned about cholesterol. But I can assure you, I studied atherosclerosis for 27 years, did a fellowship in Harvard with the emphasis on vascular disease. The information in a medical textbook about atherosclerosis is a joke. It's worse than a joke. It's misinformation. Okay, if you want to know atherosclerosis, the starting thing you have to know is that atherosclerosis is a blood clot. Okay, they don't learn about hypertension. They're just told hypertension's a mystery. 95% of it's essential, a big mystery. They're told no one knows what causes insulin resistance and diabetes. It's actually pretty well known, some of the major causes of it. They're told that no one knows what causes autoimmunity. I'm not kidding. The major pathology textbooks, the Robbins, Katran, Kumar, it's a joke. Okay, and believe me, I've gone through that book cover to cover. All right, so why am I telling you this? Okay, then also, what do they learn? They learn pharmacology, match the ill to the pill and send a bill. Doctors want to help their patients. I can tell you, most of them go into it with the desire to really, save the world and help their patients. And they become sad because they study, test, work, and they still don't really know what to do. They follow the standard of care and, prescribe a lot of pills. The subspecialties do more surgery, and surgery training, advanced anatomy like you learn in surgery or in imaging residency and fellowship, those are specialty topics. Very few doctors know about that except what the specialists know for their own field. So what I'm basically saying is, most doctors are miseducated. They're trained in all this irrelevant stuff, and they've had very little training in the things that actually cause disease. And then by the time they get to their 30s, they're exhausted, and they want to have a family. They get married and start having kids, and then they have to make partner, and most of them go private practice in their job. So as a junior staff member, you got to kiss ass and do whatever the senior partners want you to do, which means work lots of long hours and take call. Then you're exhausted trying to raise kids. And CME, continuing medical education, is mostly a joke. You just go to some meeting and sign a sheet, and then you don't really learn much or do much. And I know doctors, there's not many of them that read. I have some friends that read, and they'll occasionally talk about it, but most doctors don't. A lot of them want to rush home and get home to take care of their kids. There's not a lot of reading, and a doctor who actually reads scientific papers, that's a rare thing. Because I'm always looking for somebody to talk to. Okay, I love having people I can talk to about scientific papers, and I can tell you, very, very, very few ever read books about pathophysiology or scientific papers. So they are bright, they mean well, they want to help patients, but I can tell you, if there's docs listening to this, here's the money. Here's where you're going to find the money. Studying nutrition and toxicology as they relate to disease causation, studying the atherothrombosis theory of atherosclerosis, the ion pump mechanisms of hypertension, the relationship between dietary fat, dietary sodium, deficiency of potassium and magnesium with regard to diabetes. Autoimmune disease, you got to learn all this leaky gut stuff. Okay, so the truth is, they're not educated that well through the standard system, and it's easy for them to get educated in this way if they can. But a lot of times what happens is they believe in the system until they get to be about 45, 50, and they see the patients aren't getting better, and they start getting fat and sick themselves. Then they're like, oh my gosh, something's wrong. And then hopefully they'll learn at that point. And a lot of them do, but a lot of them don't. So anyways, hope that was interesting.